Court is back in session in two cases on the announcement docket. First case is cause number 325-182. Second case is cause number 325-186. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Rodolfo Tinoco. And Mr. Tinoco, is that your full name?
No, okay.
How are you doing, Mr. Tinoco?
All right, how about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Tinoco, you're here represented by your attorney Langston Adams. Attorney Adams, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Ms. Adams, do you waive a record of Mr. Tinoco's cases?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tinoco, in cause number 325-182, I have before me an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about August 6th of 2018, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of failure to identify a fictitious name. Mr. Tinoco, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Okay.
Do you understand what you've been charged with?
No, it's the same.
I mean, my question is, do you understand what
Yes,
you
sir, I
have been
understand.
charged with? Okay. Now, to this charge of failure to identify fictitious name, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
No, we're not fighting.
So you pleading because you don't want to fight the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Tinoco, I have before me another document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Okay.
And Mr. Adams, you're gonna have to change the punishment range on that. I think you have A as a B.
Oh, my bad.
Thank you. Mr. Tinoco, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Okay.
Now, on page 1 of this document, there's one box that's checked under the punishment range. And it says, if convicted, you may face the following range of punishment. Class B misdemeanor, confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 180 days, or fine not to exceed $2,000 of both such confinement and fine. Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, sir.
Page 2 of the same document, Mr. Tinoco, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Mr. Tinoco, are these did you place your initials on this document? You have to
Sir.
speak up. And on page 3 of the same document, Mr. Tinoco, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are two boxes that are checked. The first box that is checked states that this is a plea bargaining agreement and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Tinoco, did you sign a document on paper that is titled Discovery Certification? Yeah, that's Discovery Certification.
Yeah, I gave it to him.
To who?
Oh.
Is that it? Oh, yes. Okay, Mr. Tinoco. I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document?
No.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Tinoco, before you sign and initial these documents, excuse me, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tinoco, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Tinoco, well, state, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit, which is in the court's state you like to offer states 1 and 2.
Yes, Your Honor, say offer states 1 and
Any
2.
objections, Mr. Adams?
Oh, no objection.
No objection, states exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Adams, you've advised and counseled Mr. Tinoco. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Mr. Tinoco, your attorney, Mr. Adams, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tinoco, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending that the court defer adjudicating guilt at the time and place the defendant on community supervision for a period of 6 months, Your Honor. Require the defendant to pay a $300 fine and to complete 24 hours of community service, Your Honor. Lastly, this will, with the plea agreement, we will be dismissing, I just think you dismissing paper on companion case number 325186.
Mr. Tinoco, the state is offering that you serve 6 months of deferred adjudicated probation. During this probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $300 plus court costs of $357, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $657. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County Court appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, Mr. Tinoco, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $260. Mr. Tinoco, will you be able to pay the $260?
Yeah.
And you will also be required to perform 24 hours of community service. And cause number 325186, which is a companion case, will be dismissed, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and condition of this probation. Mr. Tinoco, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tinoco, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have agreed to. You'll be given a deferred adjudication, 6 months, with the terms and conditions as agreed. Now, Mr. Tinoco, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. Your attorney, Mr. Adams, is quite competent in those matters, and you can discuss with him the non-disclosure. And Mr. Tinoco, I'll be signing the dismissal right now. And Mr. Tinoco, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Good luck.
Okay, you can stand right there. You're gonna stand right here. This one, Tinoco. Did you, you did a dismissal on Tinoco's, oh, that's the wrong one.
325186.
Okay. I don't see 1, 2, 3, 4. 32518. I'm looking at the dismissals, I don't see that as one of them. Did you do the dismissal on Tinoco 385186?
Yes, sir. I did 325-186. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me see, it's a dismissal.
I want that you need statute of probation and you need to report them. But we're going to give you a copy.
Okay. Okay, that's your dismissal right there. Once you get it. Okay, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
I'm good, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next case,
Watson, he's here. He's ready.
Mr. Adams, would you sign my tab?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Reluctantly.
I tell you all the time, it ain't my business.
And you really don't have to.
I said it.
If you leave, I'll just do it.
I said it.
Thank you.
I have fun.
okay, next case is clause number 331-536, case of style of state of Texas versus Darren J. Watson. Mr. Watson, is that your full name? Mr. Watson, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Watson, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, Mr. Watson, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Watson?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Watson, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Langston Adams, Attorney Adams. Do you will the record of Mr. Watson's case?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. And this information alleges that on or about August 6th of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to class B misdemeanor offense of failure to, let me back up. Oh, here we go. Okay, Mr. Watson, in cause number 331-536, I have before me the information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about June 14 of 2021, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the class B misdemeanor offense of criminal mischief. Mr. Watson, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Watson, how do you plead guilty? Not guilty, no contest.
Yes,
Now you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Watson, I have some paperwork here that says have your initials DW on it. It's on the line next to the box that's check no contingent, which means no contest. Are you pleading guilty or are you pleading no contest?
No contest.
No contest? Now you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Watson, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. I'll also label it as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
I can't see it from back there, but we already know.
Okay, once you come on up, you can stand on that X. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
You can stand there. On page 2 of the same document, are these your initials DW on this document?
Yes, sir.
Did you place your initials on this document? On the next page of the same document, Mr. Watson, there's a signature that's titled Defender Signature. That's your signature. On the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant's Signature?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are two boxes that are checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? Do we have a discovery certification? I am Mr. Watson. I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Watson, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, and I have State's Exhibit number 2 in the court's file. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor, State Office State 1 and 2.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objections, State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Adams, you advised and counseled Mr. Watson. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Mr. Watson, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Watson, your attorney, Mr. Adams, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Watson, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 45 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court give defendant credit for the 45 days spent in jail, making this previously spent in jail, making this a time served plea agreement, Your Honor. Lastly, we're asking that the court use the time served to vote taxes.
Mr. Watson, the state is offering that you serve 45 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Mr. Watson, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 45 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. The court cost in this case is $337, but you will not have to pay the court cost of $337 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Watson, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Watson, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, and you're going to follow it next to your attorney. And you're going to follow the directions of the clerk. And once you finish following the clerk's directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Okay?
You put your right thumb on the right wing. You know, press the card. This is just a copy for your representation. Thank you.
You know, remember,
Yes.
this is a separate matter. completely off the docket. We have a cause number. The case was a refile from a DWI to an obstruction, and it was
Okay.
scheduled on the 10th, but there was
Some kind of miscommunication.
miscommunication. The defendant did not come in on the 10th, so a warrant has been issued, and we're just simply asking the court if we could withdraw the warrant, and he could come in on Monday and clean it up and get it.
You
taken care
want
of.
the state wants to withdraw the warrant that has been issued?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what's the, this is a case that's off docket. You can get that information to the court coordinator. She'll take care of it.
Okay.
It was a I guess it was a case that was a refile to a misdemeanor from a felony.
It was just a misdemeanor.
Oh, it was a misdemeanor refile.
And for some reason, it was reset on Monday, and so we weren't issued because that was the date for the refile. And he said to be here on Monday.
You know,
Right?
oh, right, I think, yeah,
But we can't recall it much.
okay, yeah. So we need a, so we have an order? Do we
I
have?
don't know.
Yeah, I think we got an order recalling. Yeah, we have an order. She got a whole bunch of orders back there. Gibbs County Court at Law is back in session. Court is in session in this motion to revoke probation docket. We have two cases. The first case is cause number 326310. Case is style of State of Texas versus Christopher J. Van Lavan. Mr. Levan, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
And the second case is cause number 323314, and it's style Christopher J. Van Levan. Mr. Levan, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Levan, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Levan, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Levan?
I'm doing right up still.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Levan. You're represented in this case by your Attorney Langston Adams. Attorney Adams, do you waive a record in Mr. Levan's case?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Levan, I have before me in cause number 333314, an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about August 23rd of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, this information further alleged that prior to the commission of this offense, that you, Christopher J. Van Levan, on November 10th of 2020, in the County Court at Law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, in cause number 326310, that you were convicted of the misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, and that conviction became final prior to the commission of this offense. Mr. Levan,
So they
is
run them-
that true?
I'm sorry. So they run them together, but I already done paper for one.
No, you don't. Listen to what I
I'm
asked.
listening.
My question was, is that the DWI that occurred in November, on November 10th, well, the DWI that you were convicted for on November 10th, 2020, in this court, County Court of Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas,
Mhm.
in cause number 326310, that conviction happened before you committed this offense. Is that true?
Yes, sir. And for that one I took, they gave me probation in, oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Now, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second, how do you plead? Guilty? Guilty?
I no contest. I'm
Now, or you gotta just take your time and
sorry.
listen.
Yes, sir.
Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily.
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Levan, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Mr. Levan, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Levan, there are a set of initials, CL, on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, I did, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your
Yes,
signature?
sir.
On the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature
Yes,
on the
sir.
line that's titled defendant? There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levan, did you sign a document that is titled Discovery Certification on paper?
Yes, sir.
Okay, where's the discovery certification? Okay. Now, Mr. Levan, is this your signature on this discovery certification?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levan, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Adams, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the
Yes.
best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levan, are you a citizen of the United States?
Oh, yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2 in the court's file, the probable cause affidavit. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer states 1 and states 2.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Adams, you've advised and counseled Mr. Levan. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Mr. Levan, your attorney, Mr. Adams, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levan, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 180 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at the time and instead place defendant on community supervision for a period of 18 months, Your Honor, requiring defendants to pay a $400 fine, to complete 60 hours of community service. And in addition to the standard probation conditions, Your Honor, we are asking that defendant complete an intervention program, which is DWR repeater program, Your Honor, to take a drug and alcohol assessment and to install an interlock device in his vehicle. The defendant is also surrendering himself to Jefferson County on next Friday, October 21st, 2022 at 8 a.m. To serve his mandatory 72-hour confinement, Your Honor. And lastly, this case will be dismissing the MTRP we filed in case number 326310.
That jail time is to begin when?
Next Friday, Your Honor, October 21st, 2022 at 8 a.m.
72 hours in jail, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Levan,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 180 days in jail. However, you will not have to serve this 180 days in jail because you will be placed on probation for 18 months. And during the 18-month probationary period, you will be required to pay a fine of $400 plus $457 court costs, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $857. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County $250 court-appointed attorney's fees. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class and an initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $140 a month. Will you be able to pay the $140 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete the DWI education class and have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll be required to attend and complete the DWI intervention. You'll be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you'll be required to serve 72 hours in jail as a term and condition of this probation. And the jail time, the 72 hours jail time, is to begin on October 21st, 2022 at or before 8 a.m. And the state will be dismissing the motion to revoke probation, which is in cause number 326310. And Mr. Levan, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levan, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Levan, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Adams, this will conclude your cases. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay.
You have to leave it on there.
And this will conclude the calling the reports announcement document, and motion to revoke probation document scheduled for October 14, 2022. In County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, Judge Terrence